Hey everybody, it's SDH here, and again, back with another video. And something happened. I was recording, and my computer decided it was time to freak out, which hurt my feelings a lot. So, let's continue on, and so the rankings itself is self-explanatory. But I'm not gonna restart just to say, okay, yes, I did this and this and this. But I'll just do some quick mentions real quick of people, um, videos, and sources I've used to make this. I'll go over them right now. I used Dissidia Compendium. I'll leave a link below. Go check it out. They're on top of things. You can see both the global side and the Japanese side if you feel like it. Very helpful information there. Helped me give rankings that I felt like was fair. And now for and also another thing I'll be linking down below is Jetstringen's tier list video. He did an update on his own tier list, and I thought it would be worth a mention because he helped me give the idea, and he, a very inspirational dude. So please go check out his video. Let me know what you guys think of it. But I felt like his was very accurate and true. So please go give him a watch. And now and also a quick mention to the Dissidia Discord. The DFFOO Discord. They were very helpful asking and answering my questions. They have both a global and a Japanese side if you are playing either or. And the people on there are very helpful and are willing to answer your questions as well. So please go join that Discord if you would like, and go check out Jetstringen, very helpful dude, and go check out the Dissidia Compendium. And now for the rules that I set when I got rudely interrupted. I will only update this at the end of every month. So it is the end of November, and we had our last event for this second cycle, which was the Cheetahs raid. And so we are now gonna go, and so it will not be updated until the second cycle of December in that final event. I have been trying to, and also placements, I will be doing it as unbiased as possible. So, but of course, experience has helped me in this. Also, another thing is that availability is also very important. If a unit is more available than the other, then that might affect their ranking. But I barely use this in the first 50. Global stuff will have its own category, and that's basically it. So, also the unit and their calls will be evaluated together. So if a character has a good call but is a terrible unit, they might be lower. Or if a unit is terrible but has a good call. I think I just said that. But if a unit is good but has a bad call, that might not affect them at all. But if a unit is bad but has a good call, that might affect their ranking to be higher. So, and so it's not that. So that's basically it for my rules. And I will now I will now start off where I left. All you need to know is that Warlord's a pretty good tank, probably one of the best in the game, runs a very good DPS support, mainly support, but she can also dish out the damage. Cloud is a very good utility DPS, in my opinion. Has a terrible BT effect, but does a lot of damage, and can do things like delay, launch, and paralyze. Yuna has a very good BT plus effect, and very good auras as well. She can heal, she can Asuna, which is getting rid of the debuffs on the whole party. But the only thing she lacks is good damage. Yeesh has decent damage, a good BT effect, and has one of the best EX pluses in the game, along with her C90, which made it even better. Zidane is a very good turn breaker, but is a very good turn deleter. He's pretty fast. Has a good BT effect with debuffs. And whenever he breaks, he turns turn deletes them. Sometimes you can get second turns in a row, like after using a HP attack that breaks and deletes, or is LD. Yvonne is a good magic DPS that can't break. He can imperil 4 different elements, and he also has a pretty decent BT effect. Sauce is a decent supporter, having very generic buffs, but is very helpful in doing those buffs. Tifa is a decent DPS that can do a lot of damage, but is power crept by other units at this point. Dissidia is a very good utility unit that can launch, delay, and sap. And he self-harms, which can sometimes be a problem if you don't use your turns properly. I don't know what else to say about him, but I think that's it. Yida is a DPS debuffer that does sap and HP poison. That can be pretty decent if you just want to stall. Her LD does a lot of good damage. Despite being a C80 unit, her EX is pretty bad. Just right now, it is pretty bad. Just compared to other stuff, because she is a C80, which a lot of it will be affected here as well. But she's decent. She's a decent debuffer, but there are a lot of other characters that do her job better. Levy is a self-enchanter fire trap unit, and I don't want to go over what he does because that took forever. Hope is a supporter in Magic Imperiler. His LD can Magic Imperil. His LD call can also Magic Imperil, but he struggles with doing anything else but just pressing a support button. Yuffie is a buff stealer and a debuffer. She can do a lot of debuffing, but they're very generic. I don't even think they're framed. She's okay and she has, and it's RNG whether or not she can steal a good buff or not from a unit. From a freaking enemy or a boss. But she struggles with damage. So, all right. Now that I think I caught you guys up to speed, let's go back on track. Edge. I don't know where to put him. I think A is good. He is an evade tank. He is a tank that counters after every evasion, which is a lightning, which is fire and lightning. I believe he only had 1 damage before his LD, but I don't remember which one it was. But that doesn't really matter. He also can imperil those elements as well with every evade. I'd say he does a very good job at it as well. I used him on his Dissidia Plus on his Intertwined Wills, and he's very good at evading and countering as well. But there is somebody else, in my opinion, that does the evading better with a different mechanic, and I think you guys all know who it is. But she will not be here right now. So next is King. Really, did I put him in there? Okay, I put him in C. He is the last one that got his LD, which we all thought means like, okay, he must be getting something good. No, he really didn't. He only self-buffs himself, and he gets a lot of turns back with his LD. Maybe his EX. And his HP attack is pretty good as well. And he regains S1 uses a lot during his whenever he's playing, I guess. I don't know what the right word is. But he's such a weird unit. Like, he doesn't do that much damage. Still decent enough, because every character that's gone a rework in this era has been pretty much dealing numbers. But like for King, I guess that's less. He is a very good ability spammer, but that's basically all he does, is ability spammer and be a big selfish debuffer. Not debuffer, buffer. He buffs himself a lot. I think I put him in a good place. I might put him lower if I think he's not that good. All right, next is Bart's. I put him in C. Bart's, his skills are garbage. They don't do that much damage right now, and really don't help his case at all. He has a good BT. He has a decent BT effect, which is mainly just brave support, I believe. Hey, it's still a BT. His EX is a 1 damage, but it has fast recast. But he just can't do damage for crap. And that's just one of my saddest things, that I actually really like Bart's as a character. Right now, he's just not that great. He can win enchant with his LD, and I believe his BT as well. But other than that, he's just fine. And that makes me sad, because I really like him. He's also C80, so whenever he gets a C90 in the future, he might be better. He might be even up here, maybe an S tier. That's if they want to rework anything with burst effects. They actually did rework a C90, which was C85 for Tidus. So maybe he might get some similar treatment with his BT effect, but that hasn't happened. So, but that's just speculation. Pinello, I put you in B. Okay. Pinello is a gauge FR bot. Her skills give lots of FR gauge, both at her S1 and her S2. And she gets lots of instant turn rate, with surprisingly all her skills except for LD. But her LD has a different mechanic that just gets rid of debuffs on the party, which, hey, that's nice. And that also helps with her LD call. Her EX can't break, which that's not always a bad thing. Again, like I said, for Vaughn. And she gives tons of buffs and auras, and she also can brave better if you really want to. Terra, I put her in A. Okay, Terra. Terra, I put you in A. Her LD is extremely good. I don't even remember what her freaking BT does, to be honest, which, well, maybe that might affect it just a teeny bit. But maybe I should. I'm gonna have it up on my phone, because last time I did, it was. Just give me a second. Bear with me. I can't edit, so this is gonna be weird. Okay. Terra. Okay, where art thou, Terra? Terra, I can't find thou. There you are. Found Terra. Gotta check out what her BT does. She has a generic burst effect, which is fine, because generic is usually good, especially when she came out. Like, just having HP damage up is basically enough. So yeah, she has a decent BT plus effect. She gets 5 extra turns and 4 extra ability uses with her Loving Heart buff. She gets lots of damage off. And also, the things about her LD is that the turns that she gets from them do not count towards turn count. Which, if you were worried about that, it doesn't count towards the turn count, which is very important for Shinryu right now. So, other than that, she just gets lots of turns, and she does a lot of magic damage. Which, hey, which I think that's more than enough to put her at A. Again, I might change it later if I feel like, oh, there's other characters that do the exact same. Alright, and now we're getting into the real stinkers we're getting into some real stinkers now. Yang, F tier, unfortunately for me. He doesn't even have a good call. He's a counter character. And that's all he does. He counters. And because he's a C80 character that hasn't gotten a rework in a while, almost a year now. I think the last time he got a rework was a year ago. He can't deal that much damage with his counters. I haven't seen him used in any, and I mean any, compositions. So he's gonna be staying at F until somebody bitches about it. Alright, next we have Onion Knight. Onion Knight, you were bad. You were not that great. I put you in D. He's an Ice Enchanter and Imperiler. His BT plus finisher is probably the best part of his kit, even though it itself isn't weird. How it used to work when he first got his BT was, you could switch between the two, but now because of how it works with BT plus, sometimes it's frustrating to even remotely deal with. So he can go between two different buffs, which is Ninja and Sage. Ninja is just physical damage, and Sage is magical damage. The best finisher he actually has two different finishers. The only character right now that has two different finishers, depending on the buff that he has. So a Ninja does lots of damage. It's actually a very impressive finisher for Ninja. And Sage is an AoE one. Is an AoE 2-dump. That doesn't do as much on a single target. But it is full area. His S1 and S2 are garbage. They only do 1 dump right now and don't even cap all the time. His LD is actually kind of nice. He gets an extra use. It gives everybody an extra use in either their S1, S2, or their AA, or it might just be their S1 and S2. I just have AA here just in case. And it can also turn manipulate, but there's only 4 uses of it, so why even bother? Maybe if you're in a tight spot, I guess. He sucks at doing damage without his BT. Even his BT effect is really weird. Because I think he has like 2 different BT effects. Or they might be the same. I didn't even bother checking because all I remember is, hey, he has a bad BT effect. And I'm like, his BT is weird. I'm like, okay. I guess that's all I'm going to put down for now. Let me check. No, he only has 1. Oh my gosh. Okay, no, there are 2 different effects. Ninjutsu is mainly a... So it's just dependent. It just gives it based off, like, so it does more physical damage with the ninjutsu, and that goes the same for his BT. The same thing with his Sage one. He actually does have some pretty weird looking effects as well. Like it goes up by 70, which I only see it go up by like 50. So this isn't a bad effect, but his finishers are confusing as heck to deal with. So I'm putting him at D. I think that's a fair placement. He has a decent call as well, if you're wondering. Alright, Furion. I don't know how to say your name, so I'm probably butchering it. I said C. Why did I say C? He's a utility. Okay. He heals a lot. He can trap. And he's also a party buffer. His traps heal. He doesn't have a good BT effect. I don't remember what was on his BT effect. But if I said it wasn't a good BT effect, then it probably wasn't a good BT effect. But I like the trap mechanic because his traps actually heal, and with his call, it does heal as well. And I believe it is a debuff as well that he gives out that makes that happen. Yeah, it is a debuff, so you can use him as a support, so you can actually use him as a friend unit, and you could use his traps even after he's gone. So that's actually a pretty cool thing. But now I have to look at his burst. Yeah, it's extremely generic. No, it's not that good of effect, but I think he could be good as a general utility, which is healing and trapping. Yeah, I think that's pretty good, and he also can heal a lot for like 50%, which is, hey, that's pretty cool. That's pretty good. Like, you can't deny that. All right, now we're on to Laguna. Very first S tier. Laguna's ridiculous. He is primarily a debuffer, but he actually has, with his LD use, he has a similar He actually has a similar follow-up to Squall. So if you're familiar with Squall, just minus just like minus having a lot of ability uses and not doing debuffs. Like, Squall doesn't do any debuffs, I believe. They just use Laguna. Laguna gives off lots of good debuffs, and he also has a golden debuff as well, and it's probably the strongest one in the game. It is primarily both a defense down debuff and an HP damage resist down debuff. Like, hey, like, how much more could you ask for? Like, that's very good. I'm pretty sure he's the only one that has a HP damage resist down debuff. And it's also golden, so it can't be gone until it runs out of turns. And I don't think there's golden buffs yet. I don't think they exist. But I might find that out sooner or later, so. So yeah, no, he's an amazing debuffer. Honest, and I've seen him used. He's a very good friend unit as well if you need it, just for the debuff. Because debuffs don't go away. The only things that do go away when the friend goes away is the buff. Are their buffs. So, including their BT effects. And because Laguna is gotten from a BT effect, but it isn't a BT effect, he's good. He's basically good. So yeah. Steiner. I said D. When he got his LD, I was one of the first people to not really jump on board with him being good. In fact, a lot of people have agreed now that he isn't really that good. His LD should really be doing fire damage, but it doesn't. And the only things that do is his S2. Both versions do, but one of them just does more HP dumps. So, and he also is a self-buffer. He just has a lot of problems with being consistently, he just has problems with being a consistent, DPS. I mean, I'm not saying that he doesn't do lots of damage. He certainly can. But why is the DPS like this? Like, why doesn't he do more fire damage? Why is it only his S2 that does that? So, yeah, that's my main problem with him, is that he's not consistent with his damage. And not like numbers, but just the type of damage he does. So that's why I have issues with him. Shadow, you are an evade counter, just like Edge. The only difference is that you don't have 100% evasion, but you can with his AA for 3 turns, which, hey, that's actually incredibly nice. And he ignores defense. And he has a follow-up that can do 1 to 2 damage depending on the version. But it's not always a guarantee of 8 if you use up his AAs. As AA uses. Now that I'm thinking about it, I might put him in B because like that sounds incredibly good. I think B is good. C is like average. They're average, alright? Just remember that. They're not bad. But below C, that means they're like okay, they're kinda bad. Alright, Squall. Squall, you were way lower than I put you before. But I put you in B, which I think is fair. Squall has a good BT effect. But his BT finisher is awful. It didn't get the same treatment as the other base BTs that got BT pluses. Because like a lot of the base BTs got really good damage off their BT finishers. Squall did not. Squall got was a full AoE 2-dump hit that didn't have a lot of brave potency. So that didn't have a lot of brave potency compared to other BTs. So for me he was kind of underwhelming with that BT plus. He does have a really good follow-up. Probably one of the few reasons why he was super good when he got his LD boards was that with those LD boards and in that rework, he got a really good follow-up. Which, hey, if you're into that, go for it. If you have good follow-up, go for it. He also regained skill uses with the uses of LD, I believe. He has a bad time with turns, from my experiences, and after he uses a follow-up, he does not get any brave gain back from it. No brave refund, anything. He is stuck at 0. So if you're using him on a last turn kind of basis before an attack, it is a guaranteed break, which honestly that could ruin a run. So that's like one of my few problems with him, but he does pretty good damage. He has a good BT effect, but just not a good finisher. I think that's pretty much it for him. So, Vanille, I put you low. I put you in E. I think that's fair. Vanille is mostly a debuffer. She has amazing debuffs, but they're all extremely generic. How generic? She only does defense. She has defense down, attack down, and I think speed down. They're all framed, but you're never gonna be using her. She does not do good damage, and her LD is also weird. Her LD also works the exact same way. So if you were to say, and that's why I like comparing her to like Laguna. Laguna has good debuffs that are more than just like defense down or attack down. She has the exact same debuffs as him, but Laguna has better has other debuffs that definitely do, that are definitely way more warranted than say what Vanille has. Vanille doesn't have a lot going with her, and so that's why she's an E. She doesn't do a lot. She doesn't do that good damage. All she does is have really good generic debuffs, which they are really good. But there's way better debuffers out there that do the exact same thing, plus more. And that's why she's at E. She would have been... I actually had her in F in my original draft, but I think E is pretty reasonable. Next up is Setzer, E. For a different reason. I put him as a support debuffer. So, Freeze is a really good effect. Honestly, like, top tier effect. It controls Brave, which is a very good thing, because I think it gives you like better Brave refund, and also, so then they don't go above a certain threshold as well. So then they kill you. Hey, that's an extremely good debuff. However, he is not that. His other skills are not that great. Yes, Freeze is great. I agree. It's an amazing debuff. But when your other skills are lacking, it's not going to be good. And that isn't the only thing he does, though. Like, I think the best thing he has right now is the freeze effect, which you can get from his calls. And his calls are super good. He would be down here. Again, in my original drafts, he was down here. But because I'm thinking about it, freeze is such a good debuff, and his calls are good as well, that I can't put him at F. Yang does not do damage. His counters aren't good, and he doesn't have good calls enough to warrant him to be an E. Like, most of these are only here because of like calls and stuff. That's why Hope's here, and that's why Vanille just has really good generic debuffs. That's why, and you have a good call as well. So that's why I'm only putting him here. But his LD, which at one point, if this was back during the early BT Plus era, or the Lufania Plus era, he would be easy S tier, because a lot of characters had trouble capping, and he definitely helps capping in a heartbeat. But because most characters by themselves have BT effects that increase brave potency, and other crap, rainbow crits are not needed. So I'm sorry if you are a global stan. Zetzer right now is not good. He is a C80 character, which means he might be coming back here sooner than we thought. Maybe this next month. And then maybe we'll get a good Zetzer. So, Waka. Waka is your hero. He is the hero of DFFOO. His main gimmick is RNG. And I know that sounds bad on paper, but hear me out. He actually has very good, his LD has 3 different debuffs, each having like a 33% of chance of doing it with each LD use, which is Freeze, Confuse, or having a debuff that does a lot, or just a generic debuff that does three debuffs at once. Like attack down, speed down, and I think defense down. Okay, I guess that's pretty cool. If you're into that. I put him as a support near RNG artist. He can do damage. But I think a lot of the problems I have with him is that he is extremely luck oriented. And so, like, he can make or break a run just based off by itself. If he's only there to be a debuff, to be a freeze call, which his call is pretty good if you get the debuff that you want. Confuse is pretty good as well. It does stop enemies from acting. But like I know a lot of people mostly use him for freeze, and that's it. But it's 33 freaking %, dude. That is so that you get, like, especially if you need to use it like halfway through, and it's a long run as well. That'll hurt. That's why I'm putting him at C. If it wasn't so RNG dependent, then I think he would be higher. But as he stands right now, there's no chance for me. Galoof, A tier, easy. He has a cover, evade, and a counter tank, very similar to Orin. Orin just does it better with the counter, but he can also evade and cover. And he gets 100% evasion with S2+. And he actually has 2 different types of counter. He just has a regular counter and then something and let me see if I have the name down. Oh yeah, he's a physical tank, by the way, so he can't. So if he evades a magic attack, he won't do a counter, which could be a huge problem. His LD gives Last Stand to himself. Hey, Last Stand is really good. By the way, Warrior Light and Yuna have Last Stand on themselves. I don't know what else. He has a different counter. Oh, and his LD in the counter that he gets, just If he gets hit by a physical attack, I believe he gets to go even if he doesn't evade it. Which, hey, you know what? That's good. And he also has a very similar mechanic to what Zack and Arden have, where they won't die until the buff runs out. So, okay, yeah, that one took forever. I'm sorry. I'm very tired, and I'm trying to make sure like everything that I want to say is out there. Okay. Toto, I put you at D. You are an Impaler, a debuffer. Okay, so one of her biggest things is that she is an Impaler for all elements except for types. So she doesn't magic, range, or physical imperil. Which, hey, that's somebody that does all elements. That could be pretty good. I believe that also works with her calls as well. Her BT effect, however, kind of mitigates some of the things that she does. Her BT plus effect is a forced dark enchant. Which, if you're using a dark team, great. But if you're using something else that doesn't benefit dark, that it'll not be good for you. She does not have a good BT effect, unfortunately, which is one of the few big things that are really taking her down. She mainly deals dark wind, and holy damage, depending on which skills you're using. She can brave tap, and she can also disable with a certain debuff. And she can also help with a lock-on if she really wants to. I don't know why, because I think she's a pretty fragile unit, so yeah, DTL, I think that's a pretty good place for her. Because she's not definitely, like, she imperils. She imperils every freaking element. There's nobody else is like that. But her BT plus basically mitigates that whole purpose. So, yeah, next up is Belthier. Okay, I'm putting you in C. Balthier's, he's a buff stealer, a dispeller, and an Asuna. Yeah, it's self-explanatory. Pretty similar to Yuffie, but he just does more better. Well, I can explain more about him because I don't have much on him. So, Eiko, you are a trap supporter, which is pretty unique. I think A tier is pretty good for you. I have Eiko at B at A tier. Impaler, I think she's a Holy Impaler and an Enchanter as well. But it's mainly her LD and her traps that really make her stand out. She gives HP with each trap that is knocked off, pretty similar to Furion in that regard. And at one point, her LD actually did avoid a lot of the orb conditions, so she was pretty broken for a little bit, until the devs figured out that, oh, she can do that, so I'm going to make sure that she doesn't get that kind of opportunity again. So, they're pretty similar to characters that are top tier. Pacell had Holy Resistance for a while, and so he couldn't be used on most of his stages. And right now it's happening again with, I believe... I don't know if it's happening again. I just remember somebody telling me that it was happening again. So, but I think she's a solid A. She did ignored Orb for a while. Her traps are pretty unique. So, Tidus, I have you A to S tier. I think you're an S tier. Your rework was extremely good. Honestly, you should not have received such a good rework. If it wasn't. But, hey, he did anyways, and he's amazing at it. And his FR condition, this is the very first character that we're getting into that I believe has an FR. I don't see anybody else on here. Yeah, nobody else on here has an FR yet, except for Tidus. So Tidus, his FR condition is super easy to fulfill. I think it's just attack a debuffed enemy. So you don't have to worry about ice damage or anything like that, like with Cam. and also during launch. So if you hit with launch, I think it's a little bit less, but you still get the bonus effect from doing it. Cam, that's a different story. That is a whole different can of worms I'll open up when we get there. And he also has a start of the quest debuffs, I think 4, which is speed up, which is speed down, defense down, attack down. I don't remember what the 4th one, I think brave gain down or something. Pretty easy. His BT plus is a very self-fulfilling one, but it's a really good self-fulfilling one. It lets him have a double double follow-up. So you could get up that counter faster and get to Jack Shot, which is an instant rebreak. So he also hogs up turns like no tomorrow. His S1 is extremely good now. It does a double dump, and it also lets you go again. His LD is really good now. It does more than just 2 dumps. And hits like a truck. And also lets him have another turn. And also lets him have 2 extra skill uses on either his S1, his S2, or his AA. His EX got reworked. His EX assistant got a little reworked. It's the first one that we had reworked. And it's a little bit better now. So, you know, a very good unit now. Not like he was bad before. I think if this was the previous draft, I would have put him at like B or C. So, yeah, very good unit now. Prish I was gonna put in S tier. I don't know if that's still true for me right now. I mean, like, you know what, screw it. I think S tier. She was overtuned way too much. Her S1 and S2 are way too strong for her. She does lots of damage. Easily can get up to 500k with every attack. Tidus is different. Tidus can do that with up to 1 mil. But he has to use a BT. Prish doesn't need that to do half. So, like, holy crap. Very good unit. Her LD does 1 million without high armor on the daily. So, if you really, really want... So, if you need some easy damage out, just use her LD. Especially if you're farming. Prish... also does not really run out of skills during her runs at all. Because her S1 or S2, depending on which one you use, has an extra ability use. And it will always be green. So if you use it, then it turns into either, you could either use S1 version 2 or S2 version 2. And it's always an extra turn with that. Her BT effect is also really good. She is just the complete DPS package for no reason. She did not need to be this good, but she is. So I think S tier is a very fair placement. Ferris, easy E. Same thing as Setzer and Hope. Really good, really good call. Does like 5 different things, but her damage lacks. She's definitely not the one of the worst by all means. Could have been worse, but you know. But right now, I only use her for a call. I don't use her as a unit, so. Alright, Ramza, S tier, easily. Best BT effect in the game. Nobody even comes freaking close to it. I mean, Cam is probably the second closest, and Yuna is probably the third closest. But Ramza is a whole nother level. Depending on how many buffs the party has, he gets insane add-ons to his BT effect. So, if you're wondering what he does, at best it's just using a BT and then healing with either Brave attack, depending on what kind of attack it is, or he can launch with his LD, or he could battery, and he can also delay with his LD as well. So he does a lot right, and he's very good. I didn't get his BT until I tokened it not too long ago, and let me tell you, I don't know where I have been. He is so freaking good. Zell, my boy, my man. I think after reading you, I thought you were way worse. I think C is pretty good. He's very run-of-the-mill in my opinion. Just a basic DPS, but he just follows up a crap ton. I don't know how well those attacks are, because I've never seen gameplay of him, but he follows up a lot. So, actually, no, I'm gonna put him in D. Yeah. Alright, Lyle. Okay, I put you in D. D's fair. He is a launcher at heart. He is very unique because he's a C80 that has a crap ton going for him. Like, I'm not even joking. So most of his skills are force launches except for S1. S1 is terrible. You probably should never use it in any other circumstance. His LD can turn manipulate. And he also has probably a really good launch buff that lets everybody join in launches no matter the turn order. So, like, if, for example, if you have, say, Keis, or Keis, I'd call him Keis. Keis that's, like 2 turns behind the enemy, and you're gonna launch. He'll be up there at front. So, he'll be in the launch, depending on where the order is for the other unit. Very good. I think it's only for Lyle's launches, though. I don't know if it works for other launches. I do have his BT, I could probably test that later. Another thing that I would like to mention is that for his BT effect, he has an effect that actually does more damage in launches. Nothing that affects his ranking, but I thought it was interesting to mention anyways. But he just struggles with damage and launch and other launchers, like Selfie, for example. Selfie's way better at launching right now. Doesn't have that sweet buff that lets him do that, but like other than that, I haven't used him since I've since the start of Dissidia Plus. So, all right, Vincent, you're easy A. Vincent, I really like using you. You're probably one of my favorite units in the game right now. He's a debuffer and a DPS. His EX allows for an extra skill use on either his S1 or Rescue, which can either fire in peril or lightning in peril, either or. He gives out tons of debuffs. He has a follow-up that will let him easily do almost 900k with high armor. I don't remember what his AA does. I don't know if it was important enough to mention that, but his BT plus effect is a debuff centered one, which is I think is the third one, which is like the third one we've had. I don't know what else to say about him. I think he is solid. Sometimes he gets an extra turn use with every, depending on the situation. Again, his follow-up is really good. His EX is really good as well. And his BT Plus is debuff center, but I don't remember what debuff it was. Let me look it up. Let me look up the debuff. While I'm looking that up, let's go on to Ace. I put him in B, and that might be surprising to some of you, especially since we are now in the era of C90 and amazing reworks. The only reason why he's here is because his traps are stupid good, for no reason, and his BT effect is also good as well. Better than Bart's, in my opinion. They both came out at the same time, they're BT pluses. I think Ace is the better one of the two. Even now he's insanely good with his buffs. Not with his buffs, with his cards and traps. His LD allows traps, and the things it does, it's not even funny. He's a very good unit. Alright, Seymour. Seymour, Seymour, Seymour. Oh, he also has good calls as well. And I mean, like, a very good call. Oh, gross. Oh my gosh. I know he has a very good debuff BTU effect. Alright, anyways, on to Seymour. Seymour, I don't remember what I put you on. B or C? I think B is a good one for you. Seymour he is very similar to Cell in that he does a lot of follow-ups. Very good follow-ups. In fact, like, one of his main selling points as a character right now is a freaking he can do 9 dumps on his LD. One of the few characters that can do that. Mainly because of his follow-ups. He has 4 on his LD, 2 on the spell chain one, and then 3 on a. And then, yeah, 3 on another follow-up. I don't remember which one it was, but honestly, that's pretty freaking insane for a character. And he also has a really good debuff that does a lot for the party. And so, and that's also why his LD calls probably is up there with one of the most used LD calls. Very good character. Sabin. He is an Ignorer and an Imperiler. I put him as E, but I think I might just put him as F, honestly. He's very, he imperils, I believe, Dark, no, Holy, and Wind. I think those are the 2 elements. But he just has a lot of other stuff that I really just don't care about. I mean, Defense Ignore is pretty good. The Shadow has it on his, but honestly, I think F, because we need more F. We can't just have everybody be E and just have poor Yang right here. Krill, honestly, I think she's a B. She's the second unit ever to get an FR, and I don't even remember what her condition was. I think it's something something lightning damage. Let me check. She mainly has the same mechanic for her rework as well. Just that her C90 does more damage, all of her skills do more damage. S2 is even more of a turn waster. I'm looking it up right now. LD, where's the FR? There's the FR. Oh, it's like, so whenever Krill increases Brave from her, I'm assuming her S2. And lightning damage, yeah, so it is lightning damage. So it's very lightning damage centric, which I believe is also a condition made by Desh. So if you're into that, go for her. If not, I don't know, don't pull for her. She actually has problems capping, which is very uncommon. Especially for a character that's come out, that came out with an FR and a rework. So, alright, Thancred D. Alright. Thancred. He's a character that is mainly all LD and nothing else. I think he saps and brave. I think he brave saps. And debuffs, and he's also I also put him as a supporter for some reason, so take him as a will. I don't remember what he does besides that he didn't get that good of a rework. His LD is good, is fantastic though, which honestly that isn't enough for one character. Unless you're Pacell, then it makes you a top tier. which honestly, his LD was one of the most stacked LDs in the game at his time, so. Snow. Alright, Snow. I would put him in A tier. I mean S tier, not A tier. I'm putting him in A tier. But I would put him in S tier if it wasn't just because the rest of his kit does not work well with what he does. He is the cheese weapon. There's a reason why I put him as the cheese weapon. He struggles with doing anything but just doing a burst. He's a very good auto farmer, but I do not include that with how I rank a character. Another thing is about him that I just have issues with is that another thing why he's an A tier, not S tier. He would be S tier if it was before Shinryu, but because of other things about the FR system, he's an A. The reason why he would have been an S easily is because of his Brave refund, which was probably an oversight by the developers, because he gives back like 300k Brave, which is about the same amount that a BT attack would do. So that was the only reason why he would have been an S. But because of FR and because a KM also exists now, who literally had the same problem. In fact, they actually claim that he's been bugged or something like that. But he's very underwhelming now. Still very good BT effect though. Don't get me wrong. He's a very good BT effect. A lot of people, if I would honestly say that his is better than Rams's, but if you don't want to use him other than, I don't know, do you want to use him for ice damage? I don't think he would. But there you go for that. Cyan, I've used you a fair ton, and I put you in B, I think? Yeah, I put you in B. He is a DPS meter character. He got a pretty good rework, honestly. He needed it. But his meter mechanic, I guess, could be a little bit annoying to deal with. But his can also be a little bit, yes. And that's an ad. Alright, I'm going back. Give me just a quick second. My music ran out. We're almost done with this part anyways. So I'm just gonna get this over with. Okay, where's my list? There's my list. Alright, Cyan. So he has a meter that goes up to 7, or it might have been 9. I think it's 9. And once he gets up to 9, he can use his LD. And his LD is a full AoE and can easily get to 1,000,000 with high armor. That is very good for an AoE attack, which is why it's unmetered. So, which if you really don't want to struggle with him, he doesn't really do a whole lot else besides buff himself and do S1 and S2. But if you want to struggle with that and you really just for that LD, then I say he's a good. Then I say he's above decent. His call though is really good. Easily it's an easy farm. It's easy to use, easy to farm with. And if you just want to get in an easy 1,000,000 damage, he's right here. Just use him. So yeah, Papalimo. Papalimo, you're like the Onion Knight for magic, but not for magic, but for elements. You C or B? I think C. From what I was reading about him, he's fire and he's ice damage, something like that. And depending on which skill you use, he switches between elements, which is very similar to how Onion Knight works. But I think he's better because he actually got a freaking rework. So if you just need to use fire damage or ice damage, then either or will do. Another thing about him that I think I should mention is that for his calls, it's only fire damage. So if you were hoping that I can just I can use him for both fire and ice support, then that's not gonna work out for you, buddy. Lightning. Why did I put D tier? Now that I'm looking at her, I don't think I have any other C90 characters that are below D. She has a decent BT finisher. Her rework though was just awful to her. I was expecting her to at least get an extra dump on both of her uses, but she only gets an extra dump when she has her plus versions of either her S1 or S2, which is so bad. I don't know what they were thinking with her. She was pretty broken for Lufinia and in the end of Chaos as well. But right now, her C90 just gave an extra dump to her already 3-dump EX, which her EX was really good. Right now it's just okay, but at one point it was really, really good EX because it did 3 dumps and it had a pretty good Brave potency. She does lightning damage. Her LD's pretty good, I guess. It delays and it gives her 3 extra turns. 2? No, was it 3 or 2? Something like that. But it also gives her... It's very similar to how Terra's works, if you remember. She gets extra uses on her S1, S2, and S3. I mean, not S3. We don't have an S3. Her AA, which is Break Reset, which is just in itself, characters can do Break Resets without touching it. Can do Brave Resets and damage without touching a single button. But hey, it can be nice if you want to get those extra turns in. She's just not that good. She is along the same lines as Onion Knight, as not good reworks. Cater, I also put you... And Cater's the last one for this one. Cater is a easy D tier. She is an evade bot, and that's basically all she does. Her skills only do 1 dump now. I don't think she got a rework to do 2. I can double check my facts real quick though. She evades, but she doesn't attack back. She does ice damage. Her call can help as well if you need to do ice damage. I'm looking it up right now just to make sure I'm not wrong. Oh yeah, I forgot she has her LD. She actually has her FR boards. Oh, she also is a trap. Oh yeah, she's a trap too, that's right. She's an evade trapper. Can't believe I forgot about that. She imperils as well, which, hey, that's pretty nice. Oh yeah, and, oh, she also freezes too. Maybe she's not as bad as I thought. Honestly, that doesn't, she doesn't sound as bad, so... some of these other units just have niches, but Cater, though? Cater has a lot of stuff. Oh yeah, no, she didn't. It's all gross. Yeah, she only has 1 dumps on her skills, which is sad. Oh yeah, she does force lock, so she can guarantee evade. Oh, and she does have a counter. She has a lot of weird stuff. I never noticed this. She ever uses an EX, she has a landmine, which is a trap. Whenever an opponent attacks, and she can also counter as well if she wants. Alright, yeah, I think D tier is pretty fair. Because, most of these characters have good stuff, but, maybe you lack something else. Alright, and now... this is basically end, but before I go, I'm gonna put Corn Global first, so. Alright, so this is the first 50 characters done and over. I'll do a part 2 here soon in the future. I just have to finish my notes on 51 through 100. So this is the first one, this is the first 50. So, thank you guys once again for watching. I'm sorry it took so long, but there was just a ton to go through, so thank you once again, and I hope you guys stick around for later.